And many people are struggling with how to talk to their children and to each other about the Texas school shooting.
Earlier today, we spoke with Dr. Greg Rogers, the Director of Behavioral Health Services at UW Health.
Well, it's a real challenge. It's very hard to really hear news like we heard yesterday and to not let it affect us. And really, we can let it affect us. That's okay. It's normal and human and healthy to have emotions in response to an event like yesterday. And really part of coping is making some space for the upset that we have about it.
Is it important to express those emotions and talk about how you feel? I wonder if some people are getting numb about these kinds of incidents now.
They're coming so often and they're so horrific and not much is changing in response that people start to feel helpless and like they have no choice but to simply go on.
How do you deal with that helplessness?
People will deal with that differently. Some will try to mobilize and join efforts aimed at preventing violence. And at the very least, it's important that people just kind of continue to go about their routines and take care of themselves and their families as best they can.
It seems so overwhelming sometimes. Do you have any advice for parents about how to talk to their children about this? Should you talk to your kids about it, or should you shield them from it as much as possible?
Yeah. You have to, a parent has to assume that even if they try to shield their child from it, that's not going to work. The child is going to learn about it, hear about it, see it somewhere, somehow. And generally, it's better if the acknowledgement of the event comes from a trusted adult and at a time where they can talk about how they're feeling about it, where they have the sort of space and time to discuss those thoughts and feelings.
And often that information they may get from their peers may not be accurate or sensationalized.
That's exactly right, and that's why it's important to have a trusted adult engaged in the conversation, because one of the things that a parent can accomplish is finding out how the child is understanding the event. And, they may be misunderstanding it in some important ways that lead them to feel more unsafe than they need to feel.
Do you think they should be watching the news with you?
It's really important that there not be overexposure in a way that is harmful to the child. So, if a parent is right there with the child, some exposure to the news is probably not a bad thing, especially if they immediately have a chance to process what happened.